everything I've accomplished in my life is unwavering faith and extraordinary effort. That's why I believe I will beat cancer. So it was applying the 5-minute rule. It was applying the miracle equation, the faith and the effort. And it was my savers, the miracle morning practices. All 6 of the savers were focused on beating cancer. I read a book, multiple books on how to beat cancer. My affirmations affirmed I'm committed to beating cancer no matter what. There's no other option. I'm doing it for my mom and dad. I'm doing it for my wife. I'm doing it for my kids. I'm doing it for myself, and I'm doing it for humanity. In order to do it, I will combine the best Western medicine and holistic practices that I can relentlessly research and implement. And I affirmed it every single day. And last thing I want to say on this is what you affirm repeatedly becomes your reality.
Hi, this is JP Newman of Fulfillionaire, and today is live podcast day with our audience of 50 people here at Thrive. And our special guest is Hal Elrod. If you guys don't know who Hal is, boy, are you in for a treat. Hal is the best-selling author of the book Miracle Morning. Over 3 million copies sold, translated in all languages, a community of over 500,000 people. What you're going to learn from Hal that you won't learn better from anybody else is truly about resiliency. How do you go from an idea or an entrepreneur where you feel stuck? And how do you get unstuck? How do you take the hardest situations in your life, whether it's your relationships, your money, your business, and truly transform and alchemize into the result that you want? I promise you, I've interviewed hundreds of people. What Hal has to say in this podcast will blow you away with 5 very practical tips of how you unlock that in yourselves. Enjoy the episode, and here is Hal. I want to start with Fulfillionaire. You know, Hal, I was so grateful that you said yes to this, and it really meant a lot to me. And one of the things—
When you said there was going to be snacks, I was like, sure.
Yeah, free snacks.
Free meal, yeah.
You should totally come. But Hal, I think from like when I met you at Brad's party, just not that long ago, we're really just becoming friends, and we get to use the podcast today to dig even deeper. But when I told you about Fulfillionaire and this new movement that I'm creating, you were like one of the few people that was so supportive and like, what can I do to support you and take you further? And coming from you, an established transformational leader, and to say that yes to me, like you can do this, meant so much to me, more than you even know. Like those little conversations that you have sometimes, you don't know how they impact people, but I'm sure you do. If you have 500,000 people plus in your community and 3 million books sold of your book, maybe you do know what that's like. But that little moment for me was such a moment of affirmation. So I just thank you for that.
Yeah, no, you're welcome. And the way that I look at that, I like when I give a speech, people often come up afterwards and they always qualify what they're about to say with, I'm sure you hear this all the time, but and I always say, it's the first time I heard it from you. Right? Like, and that, to me, that's it. It's like, no, I've never heard that before, you know, not from you. And you're, you know, and it's like when you, and it can be cliche to be like, if this book just changes one life, but when I wrote it, I didn't know it was going to sell millions of copies. Like, I thought that was like a possible miracle that could happen. But as an unknown author, it was like, it really was. This practice, the Miracle Morning, changed my life. And I feel like it's my God-given responsibility to share this with other people. Yeah. And it wasn't quantity, it was quality of the impact. And then, interestingly enough, when you keep doing that and keep sharing it, it just, then it can grow.
I'm super excited because Krishna will tell you with Fulfillionaire and Sam will tell you with Fulfillionaire, we're getting that feedback after 1 year of people going through our workshops. We're hearing the word transformational. And I know it's not about me, it's about the movement and actually just providing the right information in a way that people can resonate to it. Yeah. So you and a lot of people are leading the pathway as mentors to me and Fulfillionaire. So thank you for that.
I love it.
Yeah. So let's get started. Who knows Hal Elrod's work? Raise your hand if you know who Hal is. Okay, for those of you who don't, you're going to learn today about Hal. Hal is a best-selling author, over 3 million copies sold of Miracle Morning. I brought a copy with me. This is what the book looks like. When did you publish this book originally?
So that is the updated and expanded edition, which came out in 2023. I self-published the original Miracle Morning book on 12/12/2012.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, that is cool. Yeah. And he gave me this gift, which I was happy with. I didn't love that it was Morning Miracle After 50.
Well, to be fair, it was originally the Miracle Morning for seniors. And then when
killing it.
In our Miracle Morning community Facebook group, I was like asking questions about it. I was like, hey, what do you And I think we did a survey, And everybody's like, I'm only 70. I'm not a senior. Like, that's a derogatory, apparently insulting term. And then but I Googled, it's like, if you're over 50, you're considered a senior. I'm like, let's change it to after 50.
Let's change
and
it.
then, yeah, so. Yeah.
Well, I don't like being called, when people say, JP, you're a wise elder. I'm like, can we change it? How about wise sage? I don't like wise elder. Like, it's too much.
Yeah, fair.
Right, Courtney? You get it, right? Wise elder. Wise elder? What do you think I am? I mean, come on. I'm not walking like this. Anyways, and the last thing about your book that made me, this is a new gift, but it says a proven path to joy, vitality, and purpose for aging adults. I'm like, aging adults, here it goes. So there's a little sensitivity to this 50s, late 50s
apparently.
thing.
That sounds like a therapy thing that you need
We
to
can
work
talk
on.
about this. Gianna, Cody, get me into some therapy. I need a new coach.
I mean, from 18 on, you're an aging adult, so it's not an insult.
For those of you who don't know, Hal, besides being a best-selling author, a podcaster, a transformational coach, literally, and a lot of people can use that word transformational coach, but literally watching the very few who have not just the words, but the resonance to people to transform them. How many of us here every day, you're on Instagram, everyone's got words to tell you how your life could be better. Everyone wants to coach you, and so few land. Do you guys know what I'm talking about? Raise your hands if you know what I mean. It's like how little lands. Words, 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 words. What I'm learning actually in this experience, in this journey, is that words without energy or authenticity fall flat. Humans, actually Jenna was saying this to me today.
Okay.
Resonance, which is like your vibration of your authenticity, showing up fully alive, of Montezuma, whatever is happening, being here fully in all your emotions with the right words that people can land is really an art. And like, I think you've just done that remarkably. That's why I don't use that word transformative loosely. You truly are transformative, and it was obvious to see. And why Fulfillionaire? Why did I invite you here? You are a true Fulfillionaire. And for those of you who have not seen Fulfillionaire is not a millionaire. It's not a financial status. A Fulfillionaire is someone who's actually found fulfillment aligned with their money together. So many people, Hal, as you know, they make their money and they can't find fulfillment. They're like, that was my story, by the way, in my 30s. Found the money, could not find joy. So what do most wealthy people do? You chase status. You chase novelty. Maybe the new car will make me happy. Maybe the boat will make me happy. Maybe the house in Aspen. Maybe the second wife. Whatever it is, you're chasing all these things. That's not me, honey. You're my only girl. 22 years. Anyways, so this idea of you chase novelty because you can't find fulfillment or joy. And so having you here as a true Fulfillionaire, that's really what the podcast is about. Yeah. It's really looking through the Fulfillionaire lens of like, how did you hack fulfillment? And what's so interesting about you is Chris and I had someone yesterday who had just landed a $50 million deal, and they were locked in that.
I'd be fulfilled by that, to be honest.
But they weren't. But
I would be.
He was just saying that he was locked. You could be. Well, we'll talk about that. But he's been locked in status, and I feel like he's learning to unlock the joy of creativity and joy and aliveness. And so if you can do it with money, imagine doing it, losing your sister, pronounced dead for 6 minutes in a car accident when you were 20 years old, being told you never walk again. Then when everything seems to be going great, you lost your financial stability in the 2008 crash, which we're going to talk about a bit. Then if that wasn't enough, keep coming back. You're diagnosed with a rare cancer with a 20 or 30% chance of survival. Yeah. And then through all that, you're like, I am committed to joy, gratitude, fulfillment, and healing. Yeah. So all of a sudden, my friend who made 50 million, who can't find joy, it's fine. I don't want to lessen his journey. Sure. But the fact that you were able to literally, from bed, with literally odds against you, say, I declare this, really makes you a true Fulfillionaire and true wealth. And that's what Fulfillionaire is all about, true wealth. So we're going to explore today, guys, on this journey today of Fulfillionaire with Hal. How do you go from someone who's actually gone, how do you go from the suffering to fulfillment? And what was that journey like within a Fulfillionaire lens? And so I want to start, if we can, let's start with some of your early days, but really, I know you talked about, you weren't like an ordinary kid. You kind of like were shy, a little like awkward. DJing seemed to be the first moment for you where you kind of like found your spot, and then you joined the Cutco cult, I understand, which we'll talk about in a second. Yeah. It's a cult because all my friends who are a Cutco are like the biggest successful. Were you a Cutco guy? You used to like you'd be a Cutco. Brad was, right? And Justin and all the Cutco.
Brad Weimer, Justin,
there's a
John
whole
Brown.
cult. You're going to hear about it. You were part of it too?
Just getting married, you'll have a whole bunch of knives that have your name on it.
If you're a Cutco salesman at 20, you are going to be worth a crazy amount of money and have a crazy amount of success. It's like branded in you. But I want to start with you at 17.
Yeah.
Going from awkward, not connected. What was it about being a DJ? Like what happened at 17 and then Cutco? Tell us about that time.
Yeah, so to clarify, I was definitely not a shy kid. I was just a mediocre kid.
Okay.
Like that's the way that I define it, meaning that, you meet, we all know people and some of you are that person, but they're like, they were good at everything. Like they're so smart and they're athletic and they're talented and they're charismatic. And I was a class clown and I didn't get good grades and I had major ADHD and all the things. So that was my growing up. And I didn't have any kind of self-belief like I'm a successful person or I can be successful. And there was actually 15 is not 17, but 15 is when I started DJing.
Okay.
And it all happened just by accident. It was my best friend's older brother got sick. And my best friend called and said, hey, do you want to DJ? We can use my brother's equipment. We'll do the school dance. And so we did the school dance. And I was like, wow, this is really cool. And then like, can we make like a business out of this? Mm-hmm. And then he and I broke up friendship over a girl. And I'm like, I'm still going forward with the business. And so, yeah, I started my own DJ business. I was working at a grocery store. My parents owned a grocery store. I was working in the grocery store.
Where'd you grow up? What city?
Oakhurst, California. It's up near Yosemite National Park, small town. And so I convinced my dad to finance all the DJ equipment that I needed. It's like $1,500 for speakers and laser lights and a mixer and CD players and all that. And that I would pay he financed and I'd pay the payment with my work in the market. So we did. And then all of a sudden I got my first gig. It was like $100 for a wedding. And then it went to $100 an hour and just like it cycled up. And then I got a radio show when I was 15. And so, but still my self-concept, and this is so true for all of us, like, right, we all have limitless potential. And like, we might know that intellectually, but our identity is like, I am not as good as that person, or I'm not special. I'm just me. I have fear and anxiety and insecurity and all the things, right? So that was for sure me. And then it was at 19, my buddy convinced me to take a job selling Cutco. And
what's the hard job to get? Is it or not?
No. They hire anybody.
Okay, so they put you through the grinder.
Yeah, they make you think it's hard. They make you think. They're really good at you being like, I got the job, and they're accepting everyone behind you.
Gotcha.
But on my second day of training, that was the defining moment. I always think it's a cliche phrase because it's been said so many times with the Tony Robbins phrase. It's in our moments of decision that our destiny is shaped. Mm-hmm. After my second day of training, and Jesse Levine was the name of my manager. I was 19, he was 23. He was the #1 manager in the country, very charismatic, very likable, very smart, very, just he's a smart guy. And he really believed in me. And after the second day of training, I learned about this thing called the Fast Start Contest, where you get, for the first 10 days, whatever you sell, you win all sorts of prizes, and they scale up bigger and bigger and bigger. Mm-hmm. And the highest level is the record, which was $12,000 at the time. The most anyone sold in 10 days was 12 grand. And something inside me.
Right? Door-to-door knives?
You call, schedule an appointment, ask for referrals, call the referrals, right? So that's how it works. So it's not door to door, but like that. And so something inside of me, this was that moment of decision where I was like, why not me? If this girl just broke this record and sold $12,000 like a few months before, and it's a 50-year-old company, so it was like the most in 50-year history. I was like, why not me? Like maybe I could do it. And I went to Jesse. I waited till everybody left training. There was like 20 people in my training class. They all left. And I'm like, and in my mind, I had like played this where Jesse's gonna like jump for joy and tell me I'm amazing. And I said, Jesse, hey, I want to break the fast start record. I think I could break it. And I'm like faking this confidence. And he goes, Hal, I hear that every week. No one ever actually is willing to put in the work. And I was like deflated. And he goes, if you're willing to commit at a level you've never committed to anything in your life, I can lead you, I can teach you, I believe you can do it. And inside my voice is like, I've never done anything. I am totally lazy. I'm undisciplined. But I was embarrassed to say anything other than, yes, I will do it. So literally it was out of embarrassment because if it would have been like I could have made the decision without him knowing, if I could have walked away and like phoned it in, I'd have been like, no thanks. Like, I don't know, So I committed. And he was like, you got to call me. If you're going to do this, you have to call me every morning as soon as you wake up. I'm going to talk, call me after you make your first set of calls, call me after every single appointment, call me in the evening before your calls, call me after your calls, and call me before bed every single day for the 10 days. So I talked to him all the time, and he managed my mindset. And because my first day, I was like, all right, I'm going to sell at least $1,000 today minimum. I went 0 for 3. I sold nothing. And I was like, oh my God, all my insecurities were reinforced. Like, I can't, what am I doing? And I called him. He goes, Hal, what do you feel like doing right now? I'm like, honestly, like giving up. Like, I don't know what I was talking a lot, but I didn't know what I was thinking. And he said, what do you think a successful person would do right now? I said, they'd probably get on the phone and make more calls and just keep moving forward. He goes, do you want to be successful in life? It's like, you son of a bitch. You know, I was like, yes. He goes, what are you going to do? I'm like, get on the phone and make more calls. He's like, great, call me back in an hour. And so I scheduled 7 appointments the next day. I sold $2,768 the next day. And I was back on track to pay, like on the pace for the goal. And I did 62 presentations. So 6 a day, and they're an hour and a half per presentation. So like it was 9-hour days plus driving, so like 12 hours. And I did it for 10 days. And again, but like there's so many important lessons here. One is the decision that I made, like, yes, I give you my word. I will give it everything I have for the next 10 days. That's the first decision, right? So in our moments of decision, our destiny is shaped. So whatever it is for you that you've been putting off, writing the book or starting the career, the business or whatever, it's the decision that's where providence moves, as they would say. And then the other piece that's so important and so understated is the value of accountability. If I had not had him holding me accountable every single day, multiple times a day, I would have given up on day one, right? And so many of us, like, you know, they say we suffer in silence. Well, we try to succeed in silence. And no one is holding us accountable. And you're like, well, no one sees that I said I was going to go to the gym, but I'm not going to go, right? And so it's like, I don't want to go too deep into this, but the reason I believe that is when we're kids, when we're children, accountability is forced upon us by the adults in our lives against our will. Right? We go to bed at a certain hour, not because we want to, because our parents make us. We eat our vegetables because our parents make us. We wake up because our parents make us. We go to school because our parents make us. We do homework because our teachers make us, right? And if given the choice on our own with that maturity level, we would do none of those things. We would be dirty, malnutritioned little kids, right? Like, and so, but what happens is when we turn 18, we're like, no adults are telling me what to do. And it's this downward spiral into mediocrity for most people. And not as an insult, but as like accepting the minimum that you need to get by because no one's holding you accountable to do anything other than that. And so this moment of decision in our life right now is like, we have to, as a grown-up, you have to go, I have to embrace, nobody likes accountability, right? At least not at first. Because again, while your brain was forming, from child to 18, it was forced on you. Right. And you resented it and you resisted it and you embraced freedom from it. And then it never, for most people, it never goes back. And then you have to realize that, yeah, it's like, I have to embrace accountability. I have to seek it out, whether it's hiring a coach, starting an accountability group with your friends, like, or an accountability buddy, like something. But that single thing, accountability, is a game-changing difference maker between success and failure or anything in between.
I love that. Yeah. I want to get back to you because I'm going to confess to you later about a weakness of discipline that I have. Maybe you can help me. But I think you've given me the hack. Yeah. So here's what we're going to talk about today. You guys, we've already jumped in. We're going to talk about what success and money means after life humbles you. That's the topic I want to jump into with you. How identity changes when external success disappears. That's an interesting one. I really want to dive deep with you. I think it's a real Fulfillionaire kind of moment because a lot of us, it's like, I call it the net worth trap. It's like you chase money. You finally make it and you don't want to lose it. And it creates such a fear in most people. Totally. You go into the defensive because it's not just losing the money. It's losing the identity of the money. So I want to jump with you into that. Yeah. Why intentional practices matter. I really want to talk to you about that because I see such a difference with the people who do it consistently. And I struggle, but we're going to talk about that. But I do them, but not as best as I could. And what does it actually mean to live a fulfilled life? What is fulfillment? And I really want to dive into, like, you've dealt with so many people all over the world, and I want to talk about the very definition of fulfillment. So if we can, let's keep chatting. Does that sound good? So I want to go back. So when you started, like at your height at Cutco, I'm going to ask you just last question about that.
Yeah.
What were your sales like? Like how were you? Were you medium tier, top tier, low tier?
So I broke the fast start record. I sold $15,000, and that was an identity shift. I'm like, oh, what else can I do that I never thought I could do? Like that was the defining moment, as Tony Robbins would say. It was like that decision and that commitment to Jesse, my manager, and that accountability led to the result. Right? And I didn't break the record till day 10. It was the 10th day. I was like 1,500 short and I sold $4,000. It was this big day. It was amazing. So I broke the record. And that was where, it's all of a sudden the story in my head, or what John Acuff calls the soundtrack.
Yeah.
It was like, I'm mediocre. I'm not special. I'm not disciplined, all those things. And after that, I was like, wait a minute. I was just completely disciplined for 10 days. Fully committed at a level I've never been before. And I just broke an all-time record that no one had ever done. What else could I do? That was like the next question.
It sounds like a really important shift in your life. It sounds like a light bulb that led to your entire journey. I know you couldn't have figured what was coming next, but it sounds like that was the first aha moment.
Yeah, that was the defining moment. For sure. And then but still my lazy tendencies came back. I still went into now it's like, oh, I made all this money. I don't need to work for a few weeks. So then I went into these cycles of work hard. And then what ended up happening, Cutco's very smart, especially at 19, having never been recognized for anything. Now I'm this record-breaking sales rep. They put me on stage. I was my 6th day. I was halfway through the fast start, and there was a division meeting. They put me on stage to give a speech. I was like, I'd never given a speech before, right? And then I get applause. So now I'm actually becoming very addicted to being recognized for my accomplishments.
Which
right?
was my next question to you. What was it like for you to have your first bits of success so young?
Yeah.
How did that affect your identity and your views of success, getting that many accolades so young?
I will say that, and I don't know if it was my parents or my upbringing or what, but there was never it was always. I was humble at my core, no matter what. It wasn't look at me, but it was wow, this is really fun. This is really cool. That
20-year-old and 19-year-old money is a pretty fun thing.
That was fun
pretty
too.
Dangerous thing.
Yeah. And but having it was really fun for my manager to be and Hal Elrod broke the all-time record. And I'm this is cool. So there was that for sure. It shifted my identity. I started to see that I could accomplish more. What's your next question? I forgot what you just asked.
No, I was just asking you. It sounds like you told me. So you came humble, because I know a lot of people who make money early in life. Yeah. It goes really bad. Yeah. You guys you guys have seen the movie, right? You give a 20-year-old a lot of money, and it's usually a car crash or you burn down a house. Something bad has to happen. So there was something rooted in you about the value.
I think that it's kind of I've heard it said that money is the grand amplifier. If you're an asshole, it makes you a bigger asshole. If you're nice, it just makes you nice. You give it away or whatever. And so I think I was never an asshole. So it didn't amplify that part of me, but it was but I enjoyed it. So it's for sure an ego aspect of but it was a fun, enjoyable ego. I like this. This is really fun. But
what do you think the core, if you're just saying the core fuel for that 19-year-old, what drove you? Because look, you were with this was a Glengarry, Glen Ross, bunch of type A's going for the phone, and somehow you rose to the top. So what was it in your value and your fuel? What was your self-meaning or motivation?
The first 10 days of breaking that record, I became addicted to, it was two things. There was the internal, which is wow, what else can I do? I want to keep accomplishing things I've never done before. That was the internal, and then
so it was an affirmation that maybe would you say it was an affirmation of self-worth? Wow, I could do this. What else could I do? Was it a confirmation of identity, or maybe just self-worth? Yeah, that I actually can do things.
Yeah. It was. I just did something I'd never done before. That's cool. But then the other piece was going back to the accolades. It was very enjoyable to break the record. So Cutco is very good at. They always have a contest. It's almost always a contest. So I would, I might be lazy for a couple of weeks, but it's hey, it's called a push period. Push period starting 2 weeks. We're going to go to the conference in 2 weeks and go on stage, and whoever sold the most, they're going to do the count up, and right? So I broke the push period record, and I just kept going, awesome. And it just became exciting to do that. Yeah.
That is amazing. So let's talk about, so from there, you're on stage. How long was the Cutco? How long did that last for?
So a year and a half into it was my car accident.
That's what I thought, right?
I gave a speech at a conference.
Back from a speech, right?
Driving home, hit head on at 70 miles an hour. spun off the drunk driver, the car behind me that was, so I'm driving head on, spun around, they hit me in the door at 70 miles an hour. So if you imagine getting hit in your car door at 70 miles an hour, my femur broke in half, my arm broke in half, my elbow was shattered, I severed the nerve in my arm, my eye socket, all three bones surrounding my eye broke, my ear was almost completely severed, and the ceiling from the pressure, it buckled and it just sliced a V in the top of my head. And I bled to death at the scene of the accident. It took them 50 minutes, so almost an hour, to use the jaws of life and cut the car off and pull me out. And the car was keeping me alive, all the pressure from the door, but I was bleeding. And then once they pulled me out, I lost so much blood that I bled out. My heart stopped for 6 minutes. They revived me on the helicopter, going to the hospital. I was clinically dead for 6 minutes, and then I was in a coma for 6 days. Had 13 surgeries, I think, or 13, something like that. And then came out of the coma, was told I would never walk again. And I learned something in my Cutco training, and this is a take home for everybody. It's called the 5-minute rule. And on a side note, it pisses me off. I would write that book, but Mel Robbins wrote the 5-second rule, so it would seem like I was ripping her off. Anyway, I just had to say that. But I was doing the 5-minute rule 20 years before, but nobody would read that part of the book to know. Anyway, being an author is hard, you guys. So I end up, what was I talking about? So the car accident. So I learned the 5-minute rule in my Cutco training, and the 5-minute rule states it's okay to be negative when something goes wrong, but not for more than 5 minutes. Don't dwell on something that you can't go back in time and change. And we're taught to set our timer on our phone for 5 minutes and bitch and moan and complain and cry and feel sorry for ourselves. Like extreme. It was as loud as you wanted. And when the timer went off, you go, can't change it. My only logical choice is to accept reality exactly as it is.
Wow.
And move forward. And I had learned that. I had practiced for 1.5 years with no sales and no shows and canceled orders and all this little miniature disappointment traffic. And when I came out of the coma, I was like, oh, the 5-minute rule, yes, this is the craziest thing that ever happened to me, and I might be in a wheelchair the rest of my life, but the principle is the same. There's no value in me wishing I could change something that I cannot change. And so I was so at peace with it that the doctors called my parents in a week after I came out of the coma, and they said, we're concerned that Hal's in denial or he's delusional because he's always happy. And he's always smiling and laughing and joking and making us laugh. And they said, that's not normal for a 20-year-old that's being told he's never going to walk again. And my dad came in and, shared the doctor's concerns. He said, Hal, how are you really feeling when it's late at night, when you're falling asleep and you're thinking about what happened to you and no visitors are here to distract you? And are you sad? Are you angry? Are you scared? Are you depressed? The doctor said, that's what's normal. And I said, Dad, I live by the 5-minute rule. I can't change that I was in a car accident, so there's no value in me being sad, scared, angry, or depressed. I'm at peace with what I can't change. And if I'm in a wheelchair the rest of my life, I'll be the happiest, most grateful person that you've ever seen in a wheelchair, because that's my reality. And I'll never let the unchangeable reality determine my mental and emotional state or well-being, because that's the one thing that I get to choose. And it's only through accepting reality that we have the freedom to choose that.
Can we do a full stop for a second?
Yes.
Can we just do a fucking full stop here for 1 minute? Those circumstances, I would ask God for a hall pass to be pissed off for a long fucking time. I really would.
Yeah.
I'd say, why me? Why that drunk driver? I was just doing my thing, 70 miles an hour. Look at my situation. I'm in physical pain.
Yeah.
My brain is all over the place. My nervous system is dysregulated. How the heck did a 20-year-old kid say it and mean it? What was it? Literally, I find for me, my everyday things, and how many of you can relate to this? You get stuck on a pattern of being pissed off at someone and you're ruminating. You're like, I'm going to do breath work. Get rid of this thought. Sometimes when you're really mad or stuck in an emotion, show of hands who can relate to this. I get stuck in emotion sometimes. I wish I could do the 5-minute rule. It feels like the 25-day rule sometimes. 25 hours. What was it? I mean, you had very little experience. You had your Cutco experience. But to actually live by that, what you just said, how?
So I've done a lot of reverse engineering of trying to understand this. The 5-minute rule is a crucial component of it. You mentioned my sister dying. In therapy, we came across this and I thought this might be part of it. When I was 8 years old, I woke up to the sound of my mom screaming from her bedroom, my baby, God, don't take my baby. And I ran across the hall and she was performing mouth to mouth resuscitation on my 18-month-old baby sister. And my sister died that morning. And at 8 years old, I went out so my mom went away to the hospital in the ambulance with my sister. I didn't know she was dead. And I thought the ambulance is going to save her. Like that's what they do. It'll be okay. And our family friend picked me up. I went to her house, and an hour later, my dad called and he said, Amory's in heaven. And at 8 years old, I didn't know how to process that right fully, but I went into the living room, and I can't remember how I felt. I just know what I said. And I imagine that I felt very confused and like all these weird conflicting emotions I had never experienced. My dad was crying, which I had never heard before in my life. And I just remember what I said. I walked out in the living room and I go, hey guys, guess where Amory is? Like all upbeat. And I remember the mom, like our family friend Janine's mom, like her face was just sad. She just had this look of sadness. I said, Amory's in heaven. Isn't that great? Heaven's supposed to be the best place ever. So that was one where I think in that moment I shifted to be a generally positive person. Like, oh wow, if I focus on the silver lining and the positive, I don't have to feel this stuff that I don't understand. So that's part of it. Within a year, my mom started a support group for other parents who had lost children. So she found pain in her purpose. My dad started a fundraiser for the hospital that cared for my sister while she was alive. So I think at a young age, and like I sold newspapers every year to raise money for the hospital, we did all this stuff. I learned, when you go through something, you find a way, you find purpose in the pain. And when I had that conversation with my dad in the hospital, part of the conversation is, I said, Dad will be the happiest, most grateful person from in a wheelchair. I said, I did ask the question, why did this happen to me? But not in a why did this happen to me, God, but why did this happen to me? What am I supposed to do with this? And I said, Dad, ever since I started speaking at the Cutco conferences, I've wanted to be like a professional speaker, like a Tony Robbins. I said, but I didn't have anything to talk about. Maybe that's why I'm going through this. Maybe I'm supposed to be the most positive, proactive I could be in the midst of the hardest thing in my life so that I can someday go speak on this and share it with other people. And this is a week after I'm out of the coma, right? Like my arm's in a thing, my legs up, my eyes bandaged, my ears bandaged. I'm having this conversation with my dad. But yeah, so it's like those are the ingredients. It was the 5-minute rule. It was my sister's death. It was my parents' example. And the 5-minute rule, having practiced it for a year and a half, even though it was much smaller inconveniences and challenges, it had become part of my identity. I accept things I can't change and I move on.
So just for a hack for the 5-minute thing. So 5 minutes goes by and it's minute 6 and your brain still wants to ruminate over the problem.
Yeah.
How do you literally transform state?
So it's funny. I'm glad you asked this because the first time I learned the 5-minute rule, I remember in my training, I was like, dude, same thing you're thinking. I'm like, 5 minutes? Can I get like 5 days? Like I'm not, just because a timer goes off, I'm not going to all of a sudden be like, oh, now I'm fine. So I remember the first time I did it and I drove to this lady's house. It was like 45 minutes away and like, which is a pretty far drive. And it was like toward the end of the week, I needed to hit my goal. I'm like, God, I hope she buys, I hope she buys, I hope she buys. And there's a note on her door and it's like, hey, Becky told me that you're selling knives. We don't want any knives. Don't call back. And I was like, oh, are you kidding me? And so I get in my car and I'm just pissed. And I'm like, and I set the timer for 5 minutes. And I'm going, I can't believe she did that. How freaking rude. And she had my number. She could have called me. I just wasted an hour and a half. Mm-hmm. I can't have my goal now, and beep, 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 beep. I'm like, fuck, snooze. And I do it again. And I snoozed twice. It took me 15 minutes. But emotion's literally energy in the body, right? And the 5-minute rule it's the most practical strategy for elevating your consciousness. Because you're literally elevating your awareness of what's causing me emotional pain is this resisting of my reality and wishing it were different. As soon as I start to allow myself to accept it and release the resistance, peace is doesn't mean I'm happy. That's an important distinction. Positive emotions are over here. We're always chasing. We're always trying to arrange our circumstances so we can live here. And then painful emotions is when things don't go our way and we resist reality and we try to get back here. When you accept reality as it is, you're living in here. It's not an emotional state. It's a state of consciousness, which I would call peace or inner peace. It's
presence.
I can't change it.
Yeah.
The only choice I have. So my point is, when you get to 6 minutes,
literally to get there, I know sometimes I can do that through breath work. I can just do 3 minutes of breath and it'll completely change the state? Like, because the goal is to get back to your parasympathetic, right? Like a presence. So how do you do that if your mind is really giving you a tug of war? Is it breath? Is it truly that mindset of just understanding what it is? So is it a mindset or is it a discipline?
I mean, for me, it was the mindset. So it's like, I got it intellectually first, right? So first it was like, okay, if I can't change something, like, here's an important part of it is the source of every painful emotion that we have ever experienced in our lives is resistance to reality. It's not the thing. And no one teaches us that when we're younger. So our whole lives we go through and you go, why are you upset? Because of the thing. Because of what she did or he said or what did or didn't happen. That's why I'm upset. And then you go, but if you actually examine that, you go, but wait, that person over there had the exact same thing happen and they're totally at peace. So how could it be the thing? What's the difference? And you find it's, well, this person's wishing the thing didn't happen. And that's like the most practical, like resisting reality in a practical sense is wishing or wanting that something were different that cannot be different because it happened already or it's happening, right? I can't wish that those things weren't hanging on that wall, even if they annoyed. Why do you have those, JP? Those are so weird and annoying, right? You know, and I'd be like, I would think those were the problem,
right?
But it's my resistance. You're like, I'm totally at peace with those. They're fine, right?
So it's the awareness of the resistance and letting surrendering to the resistance.
Yeah, it's when you know what causes the pain. That's the first step, right? It's awareness is the first step to transformation. And I want to say something really important. You mentioned like, you know, you can know this intellectually. Here's why, like, so when I speak, my keynote is called The Miracle Morning. The first half of the keynote, and it's why I've gone so deep into what we're talking about, is what we're talking about. It's the 5-minute rule, can't change it, resistance, acceptance, the car accident. That's the first half of my keynote. And when people brought me in for the Miracle Morning, I'm like, well, I should just talk about the Miracle Morning. But here's what I realized. Most of us are doing personal development or spiritual work, or call it whatever you want, on top of the resistance to reality that we're trying to push down. So think about this. Miracle Morning, meditation, affirmations, visualization, that's all the practices, right? So if you're like, fuck, I wish this were different. I'm going to do my Miracle Morning. But you're not, there's no space. You literally have resistance inside of you that you have not reconciled, and you're trying to pile on growth, development, breath work. So you're doing breath work without accepting reality fully exactly as it is and letting go of resistance. And when you first do it, it might feel weird, inauthentic, and you're like, but I'm still mad. But the first step is to go, but I understand that resisting it doesn't serve me, resisting reality, so the only choice I have is to accept it. And then to be fair, that is whenever the timer would go off, I'm remembering now, because I don't need it anymore, right? But that was a beautiful bridge for like a year and a half. It was, I would turn it off, and then I would take a breath, I'd go, can't change it. Can't change it. I can't change it. And I would smile. I can't change it. The only choice I have is to accept it and move on. And so it was pretty quick, right? The timer gave me the bridge to feel the emotion, let the energy flow, release it, let it go. And again, I snoozed a few times. And eventually, here's the defining moment in this lesson is I remember it was like 2 or 3 weeks into my Cutco career, and I've been doing the 5-minute rule every time I had a no sale or a no show or traffic or whatever, right? Over and over and over and over. And the first time I needed 15 minutes. I had my biggest order of my career at that point. It's a $2,800 order on Sunday, the night before.
20,000?
2,800.
Was early,
which
yeah.
The orders were, the biggest set we had was $700. Was 4 of them. This lady bought 4 sets for like her mom and her sister, and right, it was amazing. And I called Jesse. I'm like, Jesse, dude, I just sold 4 sets, homemaker sets they're called. And David knows homemaker sets. and I said, he goes, dude. He goes, hold on, let me check. He goes, that makes you're number 1 in the office for the week. He's like, we're going to recognize you at the team meeting this Wednesday. You should invite, like, you have your parents come out. I'm like, amazing. So I'm like so excited. And then at 9:02 p.m., my phone rings and I answer it. And it's the lady. And she goes, hey, I'm so sorry. My husband came home. We got to cancel the order. And I tried everything. I'm like, no, you have a 15-day trial period. Like, give it a shot. And so all of the celebration I'd done for the whole day was like, it was gone.
Wow.
And here's the thing, it was intuitive. I set my timer for 5 minutes and I go, I can't believe she canceled the order. Like, what am I gonna do? But I had asked that question for the last 2 weeks and I was like, well, the one thing I can do is accept it, get on the phone tomorrow and make more calls. And I picked up my phone and I was like, I got 4 minutes and 32 seconds left. And I was like, why am I gonna waste the next 4.5 minutes of my life being upset over something that I can't change? And I remember in that moment, I'm like, I'm gonna change the 5-minute rule to the 5-second rule. Because wasting 5 minutes of my life multiple times a day, that doesn't solve, that's waste. And so that was the fast evolution. And I have, like when I give my keynote, I show pictures of can't change it tattooed all over people of their arm because they're like, the one story I share is this woman whose dad committed suicide. She was depressed for 10 years. And within a couple of weeks, she got it tattooed. She's like, I'm not depressed anymore. I thought I was depressed because my dad died. I was depressed because I was resisting the reality of the fact that my dad had died. And the moment I consciously decided to accept my reality that he's gone, I was completely at peace with it.
How is it for you? I know, like, I think of emotions as being energy in motion.
Yeah.
So obviously, because I think it's also easy to spiritually bypass, right? You can spiritually
Been there, done that.
emotion.
Yeah.
Like, I'm okay, I feel good, my dad's dead, everything's fine. You know, like, truly to be in the energy of whatever really lives in you. I find that still a challenge. Happiness is pretty easy for me to access and joy. Like you said, the ones over here, they tend to fight. They don't want to come out as much.
Yeah.
Do you find yourself being able to have energy and emotion with your emotions? Like you can just, like, you're a Jedi at releasing the energy of that sadness, fear, depression, disappointment. Can you, on the fly, let that go in that time?
Yes, and in full transparency, when I had that moment at 8 years old when my sister died and I was like, Amory's in heaven, isn't that great? I think that was the first moment, whether it was spiritual bypass, I'm not sure on the semantics, but I think that I emotionally bypass, whatever, right? I bypassed something.
Right.
And I was like, oh, I don't have to feel it. Ooh, that's way better. And so I think it became a superpower, and also it caused me to lack empathy for my entire life. So I didn't feel negative emotions I did. I was bullied in school, so I felt things, but for the most part, I was able to kind of bypass. Then when I learned the 5-minute rule, I probably adopted it faster because I had the bypass reference. When I went through cancer, and I won't go into a lot of depth on this, but after 3 years of chemo, my brain got just fucked up. Like, it didn't work right. And I developed extreme anxiety. My life was great. Like, I was a fulfillionaire in terms of like, I had all the money I needed. Life was great. My marriage was great. All the things. But I developed extreme anxiety. I was not sleeping. My brain didn't work. And it was the first time in my life that I got deeply, very suicidal. I started sleeping in a separate bed from my wife. That's why I'm for 6 months of being suicidal and literally thinking, how could I kill myself and not have it affect my kids too bad? Wow. That was the daily, trying to solve for that. And that was chemo. It was literal damage to my brain that all of my superpowers, 5-minute rule, my brain didn't work. It'd be like, the way I would compare it is if someone hit you in the head with a baseball bat and you're like, my brain doesn't work the same, right? It's like, and it's like, no, but try this. And you're like, doesn't work the same, right? I cut your arm off. I'm like, no, use both arms. You're like, one's cut off, right? So the brain was just a mess. And so I got off chemo against doctor's orders. I'm like, doctor, I want to die. I'm done taking all your pharmaceutical stuff. And so I quit cold turkey on that day. And then it was wild because I had this reference of all the stuff I've talked about of I'm at peace with things, but my brain didn't work. So the last, it's been 9 years since I had cancer, 5.5 years since I went through that suicidal 6 months. Yeah. And all the things that we're going to continue talking about, the miracle morning, these perspectives, all these different tools, have helped me to get to that place that I used to be at after going through a 5-year dark night of the soul. Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
That's real. Because I know how hard it is. I'm sure you guys know the feeling of how hard it is sometimes to change. We get stuck in loops in life, right? We get stuck in these emotional loops. And it's really sad to see so many people, and that's one of the reasons why I'm doing Fulfillionaire with Sam and Krishna, is to get people out of their loop around money, of scarcity, fear. And you just see it again and again and again. And I see some people escape, but I see a lot of people not escape and they stay a victim. So they've been given everything in life except they can't find joy. They would trade positions and they'd have these suicidal or just depression. I went through the darkest night of my soul as I was making money. I'd go to the office and cry. They're like, you just made your first X millions of dollars. You just did great. I'm like closing the door and crying in my office because I was so emotionally wrapped and out of balance. So I understand that. 2000, I want to jump to 2000.
Let's go.
So you're cruising, you get through that, which is already incredible. Everything's going great. You've accumulated money. 2008, there's a financial crisis in America. Probably not that too similar to today. Tell us what happened.
Very similar. Yeah,
I really want to dig into the mindset of going backwards and what that was.
Yeah. So 2008. I mean, I now say there's a fine line between optimism and delusion, right? And I cross, less now, but more so then. But people are like, aren't you worried about the economy? And I remember I'd be like, I create my own economy. So I was like, I literally thought that it would have no effect on me, that I was completely in control of my destiny, too much personal growth and not enough realism and all the things. And so I was a coach. I had hit Hall of Fame with Cutco. And then I was like, I want to be an entrepreneur. So I hit Hall of Fame, left Cutco, and then started my coaching business. Because I thought that's what I'm qualified to do. I can help other people succeed and sell and all that. So I started a coaching business. It was growing. I think within my first year, I got to like 80 grand in income, which is pure profit. I had no expenses. And so it was like, I was all right, my first 6-figure year in coaching will be next year, and then we'll just keep scaling up. And within 6 months, I lost over half my coaching clients. So half of my income, and I couldn't get any new ones. This is 2008, economy's crashing.
Coaches and condos go.
That's
first things to go.
Yeah.
And real estate in Florida. That's your warning sign. Chad, is that not true? Real estate in Florida will tell you everything.
I love it. So 6 months into this downward spiral, and I'm depressed and I'm scared and I don't know what to do and I feel hopeless. And my wife and I ended up having to foreclose on our house. Or short sell it or whatever, right? Like I stopped paying the mortgage, like my credit tanked. I mean, so it's like literally goes from like life's great. And I never had a financial adversity before, really, like, right? I mean, at 15, I have my DJ business, that's going well. Find Cutco at 19, making great money. 6 years after Cutco is when I left. And now it's my first time, like, I can't pay the bills and what? And nothing's working. I can't sell anything. Like I can't get clients.
How old were you, by the way, at this point?
29.
Okay.
And so that really messed up my identity, right? That was a real, like, well, who am I? I can't succeed. And it messed up my identity because I was a coach. I was a success coach and I was failing miserably. Mm-hmm. So I felt inauthentic. I'm like, how can I coach people to be successful when I'm short selling my house because I can't afford my mortgage, right? So that really affected my ability to get clients because I'm like, I'm like, are you struggling? Because so am I. Let's do this together, right? Like, I'm fucked up, man. Are you? Let's build it. Like, and so I didn't ask, can I cuss on this podcast?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah, all right, we'll bleep it out.
It's no children here.
All right, so my wife says, hey, call John Berghoff, who's one of my best friends. He broke every Cutco record I had set. So he's very successful, right? And he had left Cutco as well, doing other stuff. And she said, why don't you call John and ask for advice? Like, I hate seeing you like this. I was like, yeah, you're right. I should have called him a long time ago. And I called John and he tells me to listen to a Jim Rohn audio, which I thought was a waste of time because I'm like, dude, I need to make money. Like, I'm going to listen to some personal growth guy. Like, what? But I'm like, I'm desperate. So I'm like, I'll listen to the audio. And Jim says one line that lands differently than anything I'd heard before. He says, your level of success will seldom exceed your level of personal development. And in my mind, I quantify it. I go, okay, everybody wants level 10 success in every area of life. We want to be as happy and healthy and wealthy and all the things. I go, but if our level of success will not exceed our level of personal development, and I want level 10 success, that means I need to have a level 10 personal development ritual, practice, routine. And I ask myself, where am I at there? And I'm like, I'm at a 2. Wow. Like, I'm reading books here occasionally. I'm dabbling, right?
You're back to cruising. You're in cruise mode.
Yeah.
Before the crash, you have your coaching, money's in, you're feeling just fine.
Yeah. So I'm not needing to grow I've done the growth. I did that when I was 19, 20, 21, 22,
the growth
right?
That's in the past.
Yeah, exactly. And so I Google, what do the world's most successful people do for personal development? And I'm looking for like the one thing I could do. The best practice, I couldn't find it. I got 6. It was meditation, affirmations, visualization, exercise, reading, and journaling. And I'm like, okay, which one? I can't do all of these. Which one's the best? And I felt like, I literally felt like it was a little God whisper, like, dude, just do all of them. I'm like,
That's very you, by the way, from what I can tell. Just do all
of them. Yeah. I'll go all
How
in.
many people would say, I'll just do all of them?
And so I'm like, what if?
And learn Mandarin and Chinese. Let's just do it all.
Yeah. And I had never meditated. I hadn't done like half of the things ever. So I woke up the next morning, I did all 6 practices, and it was an epiphany. I was like, if I start every day with this much clarity and energy and motivation, the way I'm feeling right now, and keep in mind, I was going to bed depressed, waking up with anxiety, going to bed depressed, right? And it was literally the first, it wasn't called the Miracle Morning, it didn't have a name, it was just personal development. The first day, I'm like, this is it. If I do this every day, it's only a matter of time before I become the person that I need to be, the level 10 version of me to create the success I want. And I was thinking, give me a year. Within 2 months, I doubled my income. I went from being in the worst shape of my life physically, having never run, to committing to a 52-mile ultra marathon and starting to train for it, because it was once I did the Miracle Morning. I know it sounds crazy.
We should partner together.
Yeah.
You'd be a great partner.
But it was back to that Cutco question, which is like, wait a minute, if I'm like, who I'm becoming, and because I started just asking myself, what's level 10 in every area? What's level 10 finances? I got to double my income to get back to where I was.
Yeah.
What's level 10 health? And I had 2 friends that had run ultra marathons, one being that John Berghoff buddy that I called. That's the only reason why it was in my head. I'm like, well, if they did it, I could do it. Just like that girl breaking the record. If she did it, I could do it.
But I want to ask you one question before you go for this.
Yeah, please.
What was the message you were telling yourself when you were in the cycle of depression? What was the message that was keeping you anchored that you had to break to get to level 10? I want to hear the thing. What was the repeated
honestly,
message that you were giving yourself?
Yeah, I love the question. For 6 months, it was negative.
What was it though?
Oh my God. It was literally, what if worst case scenarios? What if I can't pay the bills? Where am I going to live? And then we lose the house. I'm like, where are we going to move? And then luckily my dad said we could stay with him for a while. But I'm like, what if I never turn this around? What if, because that's one thing that when we're in a moment, like in our lives at any time, it feels like forever, right? When you're like, this is how life is. Our brain doesn't do a good job being like, it's temporary. This isn't forever. We literally like, this is my life. This is my reality. This is horrible. The way I feel is terrible. And our brain has a lot of trouble unless we consciously do it to take us out of the moment and be like, no, this is temporary. It will be different. It will be better.
The trick with what you're saying is there's an emotion always. That's the thought. Mm-hmm. But the emotion behind that is usually fear, shame, embarrassment.
Totally.
All those things that we don't want to be, which it's like, and it's worse once you've had money. It's one thing to be try to like, when you're on the treadmill of trying to make money, you're young, everyone's like, but what happens when you have to go backwards?
Yeah, it's hard. It's in a lot of ways harder.
That's a shame. That's really, really hard. And that's why I think so many wealthy people can be so stingy. Let's just be honest, guys. There's a lot of stingy, scarcity people of money.
It's
and
fear.
I get it. And
fear of losing it, like you said.
It's the shame. What if I gave too much away and then I'm not safe? Think about that. It's not because I want to be stingy. I see the pain sometimes of someone bringing their checkbook and writing $100 when they could have written 10,000. I suffer from it. Look, my rabbi says sometimes write a check till it hurts. You got to hit that edge. If you're not hitting the edge, then it's not a spiritual practice.
Well, that's why
I gave you $50, there's no real transaction in that. It's like, what is your edge? Because that's where your growth is. Yeah. Otherwise, you can get stuck in those feelings of shame, fear. You got to work with it. You tell the universe, which is the whole spiritual practice. I'm trustworthy with money. I know how to make money. Yeah. You just did it. You're just telling us exactly how to do it. So what your journey was, you were in a kind of a shame and a fear loop from what I'm hearing you say.
Totally.
Sam, Sam has a bunch of clients. Does this sound familiar? Sam does some of your clients. And so literally you had to sit there and get those emotions and transform and alchemize them to something much more positive. And your strength when I'm listening to you is curiosity. You're almost like a childlike, curious person. Like, what if it could be like this? Yeah. And then you get obsessed in figuring out. That's what I hear you say when you describe this.
And I appreciate that. And it is logic. It is perspective, right? Everything starts in logic, right? Meaning like all emotional pain is self-created. So the only logical choice is to accept reality as it is and move on. So once I have that, now it's leaning into it, taking 2 steps backward, 1 step forward, 2 steps back, right? Like, and then just keep moving forward toward that new enlightened perspective, if you will.
So when that enlightened perspective, I'm going to ask you in your brain, is that for me, it's typically a vision. Like if I sell a real estate deal and successful, where's Max? Max, you in the room? So Max and I've already said, Max and I are doing a deal together. It was under contract. If it does as well as we think, Max and I have already planned a trip to Mexico City. Janet's coming too. With a spa, with all the food, I've literally anchored in what success will feel like.
Nice.
And it's not just Mexico City. I've already visioned, Max, where we're going to go, the feeling of joy, of celebrating abundance. So I already have a win, already like anchored ahead of me.
Yeah.
And this has been, and that's a whole story with Max, but literally we did this thing in 7 days. Like he had a situation that looked like it was not going to be great. Another partner that was not going to be so benevolent and kind of take advantage of him in 7 days. We say 7 or 8 days, we turned that around. It was pretty magical. And now it's like, boom, a new reality.
That's amazing.
But I anchor in storytelling and ultimately trying to get to an emotion. How about for you? Is it a vision like once I get there and do the work, I will be here, or is it I will be feeling this?
No, so honestly, it's more logical and like process oriented. Okay. So like when I was in Cutco, one of my breakthroughs around achievement, and it applies to every goal we want to accomplish. I remember I was making calls and I couldn't schedule an appointment, and it was one night and I was on like a slump, like 3 weeks, couldn't sell, and I was like, I'm gonna get a regular job. Like this is just too emotionally taxing, like up and down. I felt defeated, yada, yada. And then as I was falling asleep, right, it's like the God whispers as you're falling asleep and you're like, you gotta wake up and like write it down. And I realized I was playing the game of goal achievement, in an ineffective way, and it's human nature for us all to play it this way, which is I was emotionally attached to my results. Very normal, right? Things go well, you feel good. You feel motivated to keep going. Things aren't going well, you feel discouraged. You want to give up, you want to quit, you want to find the exit door. And what I realized is at the end of the year, I fast forwarded to the end of the year. This was January that was happening. Fast forward to the end of the year and I go, if I were to achieve my goal, how many appointments would I have to do? And I calculated. How many calls would I need to make to schedule that many appointments? And I calculated that. And I was like, what's that break down to? I'm like, that's 20 calls a day. And I go, wait a minute. If I commit to 20 calls a day and I let go of the emotional attachment to my results, I can't fail. The averages will work out. So I completely shifted from being emotionally attached to my results, just committing to the process. Mm-hmm. And within 4 months, I was the #1 rep out of 60,000 reps in Cutco. And here's the beauty of it. I had a stress-free job. Every other Cutco rep in the company was still riding the emotional roller coaster of things go good, I feel good. Things go bad, I want to quit. Things go good, right? And I was like, I make 20 calls a day, and then I go sit by the pool for an hour, and then I shower and go to my appointments. And that's all I do. And I don't worry about how my calls go or how my sales go, right? And so that's like anything in life. If you're trying to lose weight, and you step on the scale and you're like, I was supposed to lose 2 pounds and I gained a half a pound, right? Like you're emotionally attached to the results. But if you just exercise and eat right for the entire year, you commit to the process without being emotionally attached to the results, you can't fail. And it applies in business, in life, in every aspect, in marriage. Do the date nights, do the work, right? You just do the work, commit to the process, and do it over an extended period of time, and your success is virtually guaranteed.
I love that discipline. I'm gonna up level from this conversation with you. I think it's really cool.
Go.
Let's see, where do we want to go from here? Let's talk about. I'm gonna go a little faster. I know I'm gonna go a little bit fast, but obviously you were diagnosed again with leukemia at about a 20 to 30% survival rate. You've gone through all this suffering. There wasn't a moment of why me in that, like now you've had 2 deaths.
There definitely was in the cancer one, yeah.
You know, you're like, yeah, how did I go like, oh shit, not again, God, why are you testing me again? I keep showing you why, another test? Like,
no, there was for sure that. And for my parents, probably even more, because they're like, okay, God, you took my daughter when she was 18 months old. You almost took Hal when he was 20. And we had to watch that, like they were by my bedside when I was in a coma and life support. And then now you're doing it again? Like what And so, so for sure it wasn't a lot of that. Like, so when I was diagnosed with cancer, I woke up struggling to breathe, and they drained 2 liters of fluid from my lung.
I saw the video, it's unbelievable.
And they didn't know what was wrong. And it kept happening. Every other day they would drain my lung, and they kept testing me, and I'm going to these hospitals. They find out it's this rare aggressive cancer. I have a 30% chance of surviving. And, I literally have lived by the 5-minute rule. And I'm like, I can't change it. So I'm totally at peace with the fact that I have cancer.
You guys, are you blown away by this? Is crazy. Wow.
Well, and it's like anything, because I practice it so long, right? If I had learned the 5 minute, right?
You don't want to learn it when you get that diagnosis.
Yeah,
you gotta practice.
Yeah, practice it with traffic. Traffic's my favorite. It's like set the timer. Timer goes off. You're like, I can't change it. I'm in traffic. I'm not going to waste a moment of the time in traffic wishing I there wasn't traffic, tense, stressed out. Like traffic's my favorite to practice the 5 minute rule all the time. And so I was totally at peace. And beyond that, I wrote a book called The Miracle Equation After Cancer. But the miracle equation is something I made up 10 years before I wrote The Miracle Morning. And it's how I broke all the Cutco records. It's 2 decisions: unwavering faith and extraordinary effort. And that sounds deceptively simple, but if you actually study the world's most successful people, they make 2 decisions over and over and over. Unwavering faith that they can overcome their challenges, accomplish the things, go over the setback. Like, very few people do that. Most people, the average person, their faith is based on their results, right? I have faith I can do it. Oh, I guess I can't, right? But the world's most successful people, the Fulfillionaires, are like, my faith doesn't waver. If I'm Michael Jordan and I miss 12 shots in a row, I'll make the 13th, no doubt about it. I miss the 13th, I'll make the 4th, right? Until they win. And then the extraordinary effort is like, once the faith goes out the window, the average person, their effort follows suit because they're like, well, I'm not going to try because I don't really believe I can do it. So I told my wife, I called her, I said, sweetheart, I know you're scared. I know you're looking at the 30% survival rate of my cancer. I said, I want to reframe this for you. The way that I view it is that 30% is all people that get the cancer, those that live in fear, those that don't have healthy lifestyles, those that give up hope. From my mindset, there's a 100% chance that I'll be among the 30% that survive it, because I'll do everything that they did and infinitely more. And so that was my reality, is there's a 100% chance that I'll be one of the survivors. There's a 30% chance that I'll survive among those that, like, there's a 100% chance. And I said, sweetheart, do you remember the miracle equation? Have I ever taught that to you? And she's like, I don't think so. And I said, I go, well, it's this thing that I've used to break all the Cutco records, to achieve the miracle morning. Like, everything I've accomplished in my life is unwavering faith and extraordinary effort. That's why I believe I will beat cancer. So it was applying the 5 minute rule. It was applying the miracle equation, the faith and the effort. And it was my savers, the miracle morning practices. All 6 of the savers were focused on beating cancer. I read a book, multiple books on how to beat cancer. My affirmations affirmed, I'm committed to beating cancer no matter what. There's no other option. I'm doing it for my mom and dad. I'm doing it for my wife. I'm doing it for my kids. I'm doing it for myself, and I'm doing it for humanity. In order to do it, I will combine the best Western medicine and holistic practices that I can relentlessly research and implement. And I affirmed it every single day. And last thing I want to say on this is, what you affirm repeatedly becomes your reality. And so, because at the beginning,
I got a little chills, yeah, and I was like, yeah, I can feel that one. Yeah.
I was scared. Like, in the beginning, I was like, well, what if I die? What if right? Like, those thoughts went into my head, and I'd be like, that doesn't serve me. And I'd pull my affirmations off the bedside table that were printed, or they were on my phone. And when I was in the hospital, I'd have the phone, and I would just read them with conviction and be like, yep, that's my reality. I am committed to beating cancer no matter what. There is no other option. Here's why, and here's what I'm going to do to do it. That's it.
Yeah. And it's very
fear. There's no room for fear there.
So it's kind of what Joe Dispenza talks about. Like, it's one thing to have an affirmation, but when you fully convince your body and brain that it's real, then you go to the quantum, then it becomes reality, because there's no other reality.
Yeah.
So it's not just saying the affirmation, it's believing.
Embodying it.
I want to say something about the unwavering faith that I thought about as you were talking. I think so many people, I'd love to hear what the audience feels about this, is that I think a lot of people think, because that's what society teaches us, I will be happy when I make money. I'll feel safe. All the things that I want. What do I want? I want to feel joy. I want to feel peace. I want to feel happiness. I want to feel safety. Money's going to solve that. How do I know that? Because Usher tells me so, and this rap song tells me so. I watched Love Story with Janet last night, and that's what JFK did with Caroline. Like we keep getting these Disney messages that money is going to solve our problem, but all money is paper. You have to find the feeling. And what I'm hearing you say, unwavering support for what? A lot of entrepreneurs think unwavering support to make
unwavering
fucking
faith.
money.
Unwavering faith. Yeah.
Unwavering faith. I'm going to go. So the 10 calls to get you to that money, that's where people fall short, because it's you hit that goal. I know I hit my goal, and I went into an anxiety and depression because it didn't land any emotions for me. It landed money. It was coins.
Yeah.
But I didn't have any map to emotionally, like put it into my nervous system in a way that was going to bring me joy. And so I think that the trick here is that unwavering faith for the right thing. Money and what you're talking about, if I make those 20 calls, is the tactic.
Yeah.
But it's not the landing pad. The landing pad for all of us guys as humans, you want to wake up happy. This is Sam's. You want to wake up happy, live your day in presence, and go to sleep peacefully with a bunch of other things. That's all you want to do. That's all you're solving for, really. So I just love the unwavering faith, but just like it hit me, like, make sure that you're aiming for the right target, because I think a lot of entrepreneurs, they're hitting the target, but they're missing the big picture.
Well, and I think that, like, so the affirmations formula that I teach in this, which is what I just told you, the cancer affirmations, that was a formula. Step 1, affirm what you're committed to. I'm committed to beating cancer. And so yours could be, I'm committed to earning the $1 million, whatever. Most people leave it at that. The second step is affirm why it's a must for you. Why is it important, meaningful, crucial, a non-negotiable? And that was for me, and they were much deeper. It was, I'm committed to beating cancer for my mom and dad because they don't deserve to lose another child. I'm committed to beating cancer for Ursula because I promised her forever and a day. I'm committed to beating cancer for Sophia and Halston because they need their daddy's love, guidance, and affection for the rest of their life. I'm committed to cancer for myself because, damn it, I deserve to live a long, happy, healthy life as much as any other person. And last but not least, I'm committed to beating cancer for the millions of people that are themselves battling cancer or some other disease and may not have the knowledge or resources that I've been blessed with, and they need me to lead by example so I can show them how to overcome what they're dealing with, right? Those 5 reasons are what kept me going. And so to capitalize on what you're saying is, it's fine to have the money as the goal, as long as you have the reasons that are so important and meaningful.
Thank you.
That, right? And when you have that, and the third step is affirm what you're going to do to get there, right? And when you're going to do it. But that second step, that's where the magic is. That's where the miracles, that's where the drive.
You said that most people are missing, I can tell you, because we are financial psychologists on the Fulfillionaire side. Yeah. Most people don't even know that. Most people, if I say, what's your money goal? It's always a net worth. I want to be worth 10 million. I want to 4X my company. You know what they don't have is a roadmap to actually what they're trying to solve for. I want a life full of purpose and meaning. I want to be the most generous philanthropist around children. And I want to cure leukemia. I want something so noble that's worthy of purpose and meaning. And a lot of people will say this, when I make $1 million, I will be generous. I'll be philanthropic. It's like, I'm going to do this first and then this. And guess what's going to happen? To your point, I'm listening to each one of the things that you said. They all have such deep-rooted meaning and love of being a father, commitment to your marriage, like things that are not negotiable. And the problem is we're not doing non-negotiable commitments on the money side.
Totally.
We're doing dollar goals. And not enough thought is going into, why does this matter to you? I promise you're wasting a lot of time. If you don't know why it really matters to you and don't take the time, you're wasting time and you're wasting your life, because you're going to hit it and you'll be like most people out there, I want more. The guy we spoke to yesterday on the phone, he's like, am I supposed to make another 50 million? The billionaire wants to know, should he make another billion because Elon's got a bunch more than that? It doesn't stop. The mind will be neurotic if you don't give it a clear emotional roadmap of where it needs to go. You guys following that? This is everything. How much time do we waste in pursuit of stupid things because we didn't know the non-negotiable? What you do so well when I'm listening to you, the things you're committing to in your affirmations are not negotiable. And they actually matter. So they're not non-negotiable about your life. They're non-negotiable in your emotion. The why that makes you cry.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah, no, you're right.
So I want to stop and commend you for that, because it's actually masterful.
Thank you.
It sounds so easy and we can go fast about the 5 affirmations. I just want to stop and presence that for a minute. Make sure that what you're doing, if you're going to go through all this work, is something that actually matters to you.
And that formula, the affirmations formula, I apply that to each of my goals and then occasionally in each of my roles, right? So meaning as a father, I am committed to blank, no matter what, there's no other option. Here are the 3 to 5 reasons why that is a must for me. And here are the specific actions I will take and when. And then as a husband and in my bit, right? So each goal, each role having that formula. And then the only way to fail is to be out of integrity, because you're affirming, this is what I'm committed to. And this is why, and this is what specifically I will do and when I will do it to ensure that I followed through with that commitment. The only way to fail is to be like, I'm not going to do it.
Right.
right? But when you affirm it every single day, over and over and over, again, what you affirm repeatedly becomes your reality. So it literally is ingrained in who you are because you're reading it every single day.
Yeah, I love that. Thank you. Okay, I'm gonna miss a little piece of this.
That's fine.
You and I will do a part 2.
Yeah, let's do it.
But I want to talk a little bit about just like, well, I'm actually going to skip that too. Let's just go right to, I'm going to go right to, I'm just filling things out here. I would really want to talk to you. I think you and I will just do this over coffee about the 4 dimensions of wealth: play wealth, presence wealth, and what they mean to you. Okay. But let's just jump into the last 2 because I'm feeling them.
Okay.
Presence wealth. A lot of people talk about the 4 dimensions of wealth being your purpose wealth, which is your connection to meaning in life. Your people wealth is your connection to love. Your presence wealth is your relationship with time. And your play wealth is your connection to joy and aliveness. That's kind of like, that's what 4-dimensional wealth actually is. And then prosperity, and I think I would be curious, I'm gonna start with prosperity with you. I define prosperity as embodied health, mind, body, spirit, combined with wealth, which you actually, when you know what you want, when you know what those, I wanna make $400,000 a year because that's gonna give me everything I want in the 4 dimensions of wealth. I get to take my kids to Japan first class. That actually take my wife out on a date. Like the things that actually are not negotiable to me, that are the most important in my life. So prosperity is embodied health and wealth to me.
Yeah.
Would you have the same definition, or would you like look?
Honestly, I don't think about that word very much.
Okay.
So like just being fully transparent, right? I would, and if I were someone to ask me how do you define prosperity, I'd be like, money, like so. So I have it. It's not a word that is in my vocabulary that I use regularly.
How about wealth? How's wealth for you? I said,
yeah.
how would you define
and
wealth?
it's without being cliche, it is the way that most folks today that are like would define it, which is like abundance in each area of life that matters to you. That to me is wealth. And it's the same way I define success. Like when I go back to that Jim Rohn quote that was foundational, it gave birth to the miracle morning, right? Was your level of success will seldom exceed your level of personal development. It's true in every area. Like if you ask the average person to look at marriage, the average person that is getting a divorce, right? And I mean, my parents got a divorce. I mean, it's a very complicated, marriage is complicated. But if you were to say, hey, I am curious, how many books did you read on how to be a great spouse in the last 12 months? And they're like, what are you talking about? I never read a book on how to be a great spouse. My spouse is the problem, right? Like, so it's like, so their level of personal development as a spouse, as a partner in marriage, is at a 0 or a 1 or a 2. And they wonder, why don't I have a level 10 marriage? Right? And that can be true in any area of life, right?
I love this framework.
Yeah. So success, wealth, etc. it's just a word that means abundance or fulfillment. And then you just apply it to wealth in your marriage, wealth in your mental and emotional well-being, right? Any area of life.
What I hear you saying is, I'm going back to the comment from Mexico. How do you find magic? How do you overcome these problems? It's in your imagination. What I'm hearing you say, what story are you telling yourself? Because the brain has 8 inches of bandwidth. And what are you telling yourself of a story? And you are a great storyteller, my friend.
Thank you.
And you tell great stories. And then you stick by them. Then they're not negotiable and you go from that's what makes you, I'm like listening to you and figuring out your architecture, and it's incredible.
And it's why the Miracle Morning is so crucial, because it's every day presencing yourself to what you have decided in advance matters most in your life, to your health, to your wealth, to your marriage, to your you've decided. And so every day you're going through, you're spending, right, I'll run through the savers, silence, right? And there's infinite ways to meditate, prayer, breath work, right? But to me, that's like time with the divine. It's time with your highest self. And so silence, and then you're affirming, you're going through your affirmations, and you might take 5 minutes, 10 minutes of your affirmations, and you're going, oh yeah, this is what I'm committed to in my marriage, in my health, in my finances, in my business, my mission in life. Like you're never forgetting. How often do people, you set a goal and then you go to set your goals next year and you're like, oh, I totally haven't looked at these goals that I set last year on my computer that are hidden in the computer. The Miracle Morning ensures that you are living an intentional life.
What I'm hearing you say is by taking that time, that non-negotiable time in the morning, which I'm calling presence wealth. How do you live your life? When I talk about presence wealth, guys, and not time wealth, how are you living your life in presence and intention, as opposed to reacting to your email or your phone? You're just kind of reacting to what life is hitting you.
Yeah.
And what I'm hearing you say is that when you take that time in the morning, you're literally setting your brain roadmap for the things you're telling your brain for the day. These are the things I want to experience and that I'm committed to. And when you tell your brain, it's like walking your dog on a leash. You're basically walking your brain on a leash and saying, these are the things I want to think about today.
Yeah, this is what's important.
Is that so then what happens? You tend to find, oh, look at that synchronicity we had today. Oh, look, I closed that deal. Oh, look, I connected with a friend out of the blue. But your brain is looking for that because you set that intention. Is that the miracle of the miracle morning?
Yeah, you're living in alignment with the intentions that you revisit every single day. And if you think about it, we live in alignment with whatever we put our energy and attention to. And most of us are like, the phone is the first thing we grab in the morning. And immediately your nervous system is hijacked. You go into fight or flight. You are now reacting to text messages and emails and notifications and social media and other people's priorities. And that's how you start your day. Then you spend the rest of the day trying to catch up, feeling stressed and reactive and overwhelmed. Then you go to bed wondering why you're falling short of the person you know you're capable of being. And then you wake up in the morning, you do it again. Over and over and over and over and over. And the miracle morning, like I have, and sometimes I'll look at the phone before, but for the most part, like it's for a moment. And then I'm like an hour long, it said I'm doing my miracle morning. And it doesn't have to be an hour. You can do 6 minutes, 30 minutes. It's very customizable, but it's like the phone is not being used and I am focusing on what matters most to me. And then I'm primed for the day.
It's awesome. Jen and I were watching your movie this morning. My wife and I were watching your movie, and I said, because we love our slow mornings. We love to wake up at 8:30. I said, this movie may cost us.
There you go.
We may be in trouble.
Well, the beauty of it is it's not the 5 a.m. club, right? Meaning like,
thank God.
It's literally, so you guys could wake up at 8:30 and do your savers from 8:30 to 9 and get going. Or if you get up at 8, and you do your savers from 8 to 8:30, like whatever, but it's very fluid and flexible for someone's lifestyle.
I bought your book 9 years ago, way before I knew you. It's so much fun to get to hang out with you. I bought your book because I knew I needed that discipline in the morning. I read it, did it for a while, and then it's like hanging on. But now I'm kind of like, I feel like accountability is right here.
There you go. And
it's one thing to read the book. I'm like, oh, he's become my friend. He's gonna like call me out on this shit.
And you have the updated and expanded edition, so you got to revisit it. Yeah.
Okay, we'll do so. You guys, we're wrapping up here. I so appreciate this. Is there anything last that you want to share? A hack, a last thought, anything about that? Just your experience, anything you want to share with the audience?
So I wrote a book a long time ago. It's a terrible book. It's like 3rd grade reading level. I still had brain damage from my car accident. It's called Taking Life Head On. But here's the point. The tagline, I feel like I nailed the subtitle, if you will. Love the life you have while you create the life that you want. And we are, and you alluded to this earlier, you kind of said this, right? But it's like we think, we delay true fulfillment. When I do this, I will feel better. The next book I'm writing is called The Miracle Within, which is all about like, nope, everything you want is already inside of you, right? And it's like, you said it very well, which is it's like, waking up with, I forgot exactly how you said it, but like with, peace and going to bed with peace and like, it's the inner experience. That's what we're actually after. And if we can realize that I'm going to choose my inner experience independent of my circumstances and nothing that can happen or not happen, including nothing anyone can say or do or not do, will affect my inner joy, my inner peace. That's it. Love the life you have. That means loving yourself. It means loving your challenges, loving reality, loving your fears, loving your failures. And when love is the answer. When love is the lens that you experience and view every aspect of life, love, peace, joy, etc., who fucking cares what happens? Like, right? And then it all works out in the long run. And then here's the thing, at the end of your life, you look back and you're like, dude, I had some ups and downs, but thank God when I was at that thing with Hal and JP, I decided that I was going to live in an unwavering state of peace, joy, and love. And I had a greatest life I could have ever imagined because of that decision.
Mic drop, I love that. Look what you're doing to me. Get me all chilled up. Hal Elrod. Thank you, Hal, so much.
It's interesting. During our workshops, one of the things that JP always says is, come to my house, and I'm not going to tell you how to get there. Just figure it out. And one of the things that Hal gave us today was the roadmap on how to hack basically any circumstance in your life. And what JP does with Fulfillionaire and what we do with Fulfillionaire is create a roadmap for not only your financial framework, but also
The mindset, how
the
to get there.
mindset, the mindset behind the financial framework for how to get there. So we do that by hosting these, and we love having everybody here to listen to two very smart people get to chat with each other. And we also host workshops in Austin here at this office, where not only do we come up with a roadmap, but we also create a 36-month vision tied into your financial framework of what your life should look like, or what you want your life to look like. We also do really, really awesome immersion experiences. We did a private ski trip in Powder Mountain, Utah at JP's home, and just immersed ourselves in play while also creating financial frameworks, talking about tax strategies with Sam. And we're doing another experience in Utah, private wake surfing in August. And JP's pretty fun to hang out with. I'm pretty fun to hang out with. Sam's pretty fun to hang out with. So come hang out with us. We'd love to meet you. We'd love to get to know what you're up to and just be along for your ride.
And how do they find out about it? What do they do?
They can go to, or you guys can come to fulfillionaire.com. You guys can chat with me or JP.
And there's a QR code, right? If you guys want more information on Fulfillionaire or workshops, where's the QR code? Is it somewhere?
Yeah, Sam's holding it up. There's one on the table.
QR code if you want more information on landing page. And Hal, last question for you while you're up. I'm assuming people can find you. Is it halelrod.com?
Yes, and miraclemorning.com is the hub I always tell people to go to.
Yeah. And one thing that was cool about your hub, by the way, and I appreciate it about what you did, when you go and you sign up, his Miracle Morning movie, guys, is really cool. If you like what you heard today and you want to know next step to get a little more of Hal besides his podcast, which is also great, the movie I thought was really, really well done. I think it really, to see testimonials from people who've really up-leveled from it was incredible. So I encourage you to go to his website, sign up, check him out. And Hal, again, thank you so much.
You got it.
So we'll do a quick 10, 15-minute round of Q&As. And Nikki raised her hand first, and Nikki gets to go.
What happens after 50?
That's great. So it's interesting. This book is, so the Miracle Morning's close to the same, but my co-author, Dwayne Clark, he owns one of the largest senior living facilities in America. Like it's a whole nationwide thing. And so his whole world has been like studying how do you thrive physically, mentally, emotionally, and financially from 50, like the second half of life. So yeah, honestly, all of the brilliance in this book is his wisdom around cellular health and also finding purpose in later in life and that kind of thing. So Miracle Morning doesn't change a whole lot. Although he does teach, he's like, if you're getting arthritis, you can do bed stretches, and which I'm sorry not to do bed stretches, but yeah.
That's awesome. I'm looking forward to reading that.
Yeah.
That'll be super cool.
Yeah. It's like 80 to 90% new content. Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah.
I think golfing's limited and going sailing on a boat's limited, but it's fun, but not the whole thing.
There you
not
go.
the whole enchilada. Any other questions?
So I don't really have a question, but I'm just a reflection of what you gave me today.
Mm-hmm.
What I got from you was this idea of like cross training, because you never know what you're training for.
Well said.
And so that impeccability, the willingness just to have that impeccability in your life and being on that edge and being on that tender and just really going for it and committing to yourself and really committing to humanity. I really get that outwardly view that you have. It's not just about me, it's about others as well. Has given me an understanding that my divine duty that I'm doing for my business that training allowed me to do a divine duty for my parents who recently passed, and I was their death doula. And it was such a profound experience because I allowed myself to have this refinement and this impeccability in this area of my life. I was able to bring that to them. And you want to talk about no fucking regrets.
Amen.
It's like no fucking regrets.
Amen.
And that having that peace and that joy and that love because of that is extraordinary. extraordinary. So thank you for giving me that kind of connection to what I did do and really seeing myself in that.
You're so welcome.
Yeah.
What's your name?
Colleen.
Colleen. Can I give you a hug?
Thank you so much.
Oh, that's beautiful. Thank you for that share. Appreciate you.
David.
Hey, I saw you speak for the first time 22 years ago.
Let's go.
So,
That's wild.
Cutco?
yeah.
Wow.
So it's pretty impressive. You're been doing it that long. You mentioned accountability, and then you wrote a book on the Miracle Morning. Is that like the ultimate accountability tool? You have to do it every day.
Yeah. I mean, you do, that's the thing is actually in the book, I talk about the value of accountability, and I encourage folks to find an accountability partner because it's actually the easiest thing to get away with. Like, no, right? I mean, not doing it. You're like, nobody knows I'm not doing it. I'm going to just keep sleeping, you know? So yeah, and I do talk about self-accountability, but having another person, it's just like a personal trainer. If you have to meet somebody at the gym, you are statistically more likely to go to the gym than if you just promise yourself you're going to go and then you might give into your, you know, your whatever. So yeah, Miracle Morning. It is a discipline thing. Think about this. How you start your day sets the tone for the rest of the day. Like that's part of the power of the Miracle Morning, right? It sets the tone for everything that follows. If we start the day with your phone, with reactivity, with distraction, with, you know, fight or flight, well, that follows the rest of the day. If you start your day with the discipline and the self-care, that is how you show up for the rest of the day and for other people. So it is an accountability by doing the Miracle Morning. It's an accountability to the best version of yourself. Yeah.
Is there an order to the 6? Savers.
That's the acronym. I don't even know if I introduced it that way. Yeah. Silence, affirmations, visualization, exercise, reading, and scribing.
In that order.
But you can do it in any order you want. No. I just vary. Some days, like if I wait, you wake up some days and for whatever reason you slept wrong and you feel like you're hit by a truck.
Yep.
I will move the E to the front. I will stand up and do jumping jacks because I'm like, if I don't do this, I'm going to fall asleep during the meditation.
100%.
Right? So I'll actually intuitively, sometimes I'll almost always start with silence, almost always. And I'll even just like, it's like a prayer. It's like a, hey, because I don't know about y'all, but like if I talk to myself, I feel like I'm talking to God, right? Because there's someone answering and they know way more than I do. And they always have the answer before I finish the question, right? And so I will sometimes ask like, hey, what savor do I need first today? Like what do I need? And I'll just allow that, I'll feel intuitively into what I need today.
Yeah.
And some days, I mean, there are literally some days where I just do one savor. Like I'm like, today, I'm just going to read for the full hour. So it's like, it's very flexible. In fact, in full transparency, I do not do visualization except for as needed. That's the one savor that I only do as needed. All the rest of them, and even journaling, I go through periods. I'll journal every day for a few months. I don't journal for a while. It's very fluid. But every day, silence is like a non-negotiable. Affirmations, exercise, and reading. I say those are the 4. Okay. And then scribing and visualization for me are, hit or miss.
It's like an adjusted gross formula. I like that. Like I can do at least, I hear it's telling my mind's 6, but there's only 4 I have to do. 2 are optional.
Yeah, there you
This
go.
is great. I'm down 20%. 30%.
Yeah.
Last, any other questions as we wrap up?
Oh, yeah.
I'm curious, one of the things in the beginning, it sounded like with Cutco, it was always this like, I have this financial goal and then I'm going to have habits that work towards it.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm curious now with your business, do you tend to have money or financial goals, or is it like, I have a desire to sell this many books and I'm tied to that impact? What is your relationship with that?
It's interesting. I am much less goal oriented than I used to be, and I'm far more process oriented, which is kind of what I was talking about, right? And here's like a really relatable example, which is like, it could either be, I want to lose 20 pounds, or I'm going to walk 2 miles a day. I don't care how much weight I lose or don't lose. I'm going to walk 2 miles a day. So for me, it's more like, this is how I'm going to show up. These are the things I'm going to do. So in Miracle Morning, for example, I do podcasts. I've done like 700 I've been on like 700 other people's podcasts. So I'm just always doing podcasts. And I'm not, and like there are the data people, like it's the way the brain, like I got to track how many sales did I get after this podcast so that I can my brain just like, I don't give a shit. I'm just going to keep doing good work, putting it out in the world. And so far that's worked pretty well for me. And back then with Cutco, there were goals because I was trying to accomplish things. I was either trying to be number one and like, oh, we got a contest, I want to win, or to get the trip this year, I've got to sell $100,000, right? So, but now in life, I'm just like, I'm just gonna just do what feels good and keep moving toward contributing. And wow, I sell. And one thing, you said something that I forgot how you said it in the beginning. When you said I'm a real fulfillionaire, I had a realization, it was years ago. It just hit me. I was like, sweetheart, I told my wife, I go, this is cool. I go, we're financially in the best place we've ever been before. I said, every dollar we've made is because we've meaningfully helped someone. It's a book, mostly books that we've sold.
Wow.
It's the podcast, right?
Juicy, huh?
It's not real estate deals.
Wait, can I have one of Walgreens? It's prescriptions for America.
No, I tease, but meaning like you could do a lot of things to make money, right? You can flip stocks and like, okay. But I was like, it was just it was a real fulfillionaire moment.
It is.
I'm like, whoa, sweetie, every dollar we've made, there's nothing that I do that isn't to help people. I'm like, wow, that's cool. Yeah, so yeah.
Can I tell you one more piece of that since now we're off camera?
Yeah.
Part of Fulfillionaire, if you think about it, is I am enough. It's taking an actual thing and saying, I am enough. I have enough money. I am enough as a person. So when you really know that you are enough and that you have enough money, not like I compromise, like I can pay my rent kind of, or I need to go to eat the shitty food because I can't afford this food. That's not enough. When you get to the point where you're at your place of what enough means, and you get to define wealth on your terms, not Instagram's terms, not everyone's terms, and once you know that dollar amount of I am enough, that's part of being a fulfillionaire. So if you match that with purpose, you are not only enough, but you're on fire, and you are a natural giver. Like your heart, you get the currency of fulfillionaire.
Sure.
Which is when you're truly in currency, your giving and receiving just becomes like a river. It doesn't get hard to give, it gets fun to give. It's like it's a flow.
Yeah.
Because you know you're enough, and you know you have enough, and you know you can make enough.
Yeah.
You know right now if you had to start over, you don't have to, but if you did, guess what? That Cutco salesman would come right down back, and you would just do it again.
Yeah. It's painful though. Because
I don't want to do it. I'm very comfortable. I'm very comfortable. I don't really
the
want
financial challenges, you're like, oh, I got to do it again.
Oh, shit. Oh, no, that work was 20 years ago. No.
Well, it's interesting. I'm actually, this is real talk in real time. Right now, so speaking is my favorite thing that I do, meaning like I give speeches for companies, right? And when I wrote Miracle Morning, I was a college speaker. I'd make a few $1,000s a speech. And I'm like, my goal is to be a $10,000 corporate keynote speaker. So in the Miracle Morning, I told, like, I had given the Miracle Morning speech. I never paid 10 grand for it. But I just would tell stories. Like when I was speaking for this company, Cutco, I would, and I would just tell these stories. So anyway, long story short, it started bringing in keynote speeches. And I achieved the goal of being a 10 and then 20 and then just kept going up as a speaker. Here's the point. That lasted for many, 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 many years, like a decade. Well, my kids are older and I had enough speeches. Now I want to actually speak more. And so it's only recently that I was like talking, I'm like, but it's like this entitled, like, well, speeches just come to me. How do I get more speeches to come to me? And one of my friends who I sold Cutco with, we were like accountability buddies. And he was working on the Miracle Morning for many years. He's like, dude, Hal, they're not coming to you like you have to actually go back to your Cutco roots now. I want you to create your first people to see list, which is what you do in Cutco. You make your first people to see list, right? And then you start just calling and then you ask for referrals. So I'm doing that right now. Like it is humbling. I've got this spreadsheet with like 62 names that I'm up to, right? And I'm texting people and I'm making videos and I'm doing all of the prospecting stuff that I did 30 years ago or whatever. So yeah, so I'm literally doing it right now.
Wow.
And it's actually, I mean, you can catch the energy and enthusiasm. And I was scared to do it. When he suggested, I'm like, dude, I don't know how to do I haven't done that in speaking. I was so resistant. It was so out of my comfort zone. And then once I just leaned in and started doing it, and I booked a gig, and then I was like, and I got a referral. And so now it's like, I'm so excited to be in that energy that I was when I was 19, like, and just humbling myself to be like, I've achieved this success level, but I'm back at like hustling, trying to figure out how to get appointments.
It makes you feel alive. It makes you a manifesting ninja. They asked me in the pyramids, JP, what is your spirit animal? And there was like this woman in there, she was like a channeler of energy, goes, he's a ninja. I'm like, I like that. Ha!
Love it.
You're a manifesting ninja and an amazing human being. You guys, final round of applause. Hopefully you'll stay for a few minutes. There's drinks. Thank you guys.
Thank you so much.
Hey, this is JP, and if you enjoyed today's live episode, please like us, subscribe to Fulfillionaire.com. We're on all the major channels. Share our secret with all your friends in our community, and welcome. Hope you enjoyed it.